Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? J.R. Fisher. I have a different background today, don't I? I've got a story to tell you. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. Don't forget to ring the bell. Ding, ding. I don't have a bell. There's a reason I don't have a bell. There's a reason I have this wristband on, and I'm going to share it with you in just a second. But I do want to make sure that you guys are subscribed. I want to make sure that you are turning on notifications, and I'll tell you why. There's a bed behind me in just a second. Today is going to be a cool day. This whole week, with the exception of Friday, because I'm traveling Friday, but Monday through Saturday, exception Friday, I'm going to be going live and I'm going to be showing you how to start a successful business online. I think it's going to be very useful. I do apologize for my lighting. I do apologize for what it looks like behind me right now, but let me explain to you why, okay? Because I said I would. My son had undergone, I guess, a minor surgery in Ohio, and they botched it. And it caused him some serious complications. They operated on him again day before yesterday. Thank you so much, Paul. Let me know that you can hear me. And he's recuperating now. And I am now at the Cleveland Clinic, which is where he is a patient, and he actually works here too. And I'm staying at the Intercontinental here, right on the campus of the Cleveland Clinic. To take care of my boy. My boy is actually 27 years old, but he's still my boy. His wife had to go to work, so somebody's got to be here to take care of him and nurse him back to health. So that's my job. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I have this bracelet right here. That's why you see a hotel room behind me. But I didn't want to leave you guys out and just leave you for the entire week because I'm going to be here for the whole week. So get used to this. I don't know if I can find a different angle or something. If you've got some other ideas, let me know. I have a window here in front of me, so it's letting in some beautiful light. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, my gosh, you should be so upset they botched his operation. And he's in a lot of pain, and really a near-death type thing happened to him. But I'm not, because he's not. He's alive, and he made it through it. And I was able to talk to him this morning, and it was pretty serious stuff. And it's a good thing, because today I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about your attitude as you start this online business. Your attitude is going to be critical to you getting through. Now, I will tell you, nobody sat me down when I started my business and said, hey, you're going to run into a lot of crap. You're going to have a lot of problems. Things are going to go bad wrong. And they did. They went bad wrong many times when I was growing my business. Nobody sat me down and said, but you're going to need to be positive. They didn't need to. And here's why they didn't need to, because the alternative for me was to go back to my old job. The alternative for me was to go back to my old boss, who was a drug addict, alcoholic. Yeah, he was a very accomplished person, very wealthy person, but not somebody I respected. So that was the motivation that I needed. Paul says, prayers for speedy recovery, brother. Thank you so much. He's going to be here at least several days. They did some real damage to him in the first operation, and repairing that damage. Yeah, it's gonna take some work, but you know what? He's alive, and I'm really glad about that. You know, he's one of my best friends. I love my son, so I'm here to take care of him. It's okay. Good morning. How's your son? Tyann, I was just talking about that. They did a botched surgery on him. They actually sewed part of his intestine to his stomach wall accidentally when they were doing a hernia operation, which caused his bowels to block. And they didn't know it, and they weren't going in to operate to figure out why. And yeah, it was getting really bad, because if it had split, it could have, you know, gone into his entire system and killed him. But fortunately, they went in and they said, oh my gosh, we made a incision problem, and we sewed up your intestines accidentally to your stomach. Not a good thing, not a good thing. But anyhow, they detached it. He's got tubes down his nose and all this kind of stuff. Still not able to eat or any of that, but that's not our subject today. Our subject today is being positive. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And that's why you see the hotel room behind me, because I'm here with him, trying to nurse him back to health, which I can do. I've done it. I was a single dad. I raised him by myself. So I think I can do this too. So why do you go negative? First off, I mean, why is it that our brains, and guys, understand this is about growing your business online. This is about building your business online. But if I neglect this area, if I neglect explaining to you why you need to change your brain, and you can change your brain, My brain is not the way it used to be years ago. You can reprogram your brain. Anybody can do this. Okay. But it's a good idea to look at why your brain automatically seems to look at the world through a negative lens. Okay. Now, according to Loretta Brunning of the Inner Mammal Institute, she says chemistry hurts. Okay. Our body is made up of chemicals. Some are good, some are not so good, but chemicals such as dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all fall within the category of happy. Okay. So we have these happy things, right? Now, chemicals, and they create these senses of pleasure or satisfaction. Our body releases in short spurts only which are metabolized quickly. So this pushes us to keep seeking a way to stimulate these chemicals. We shouldn't be happy all the time, but we should always be motivated to go be happy. Okay. And I think we all have experienced that. We always want to be happy, but we're not always happy. On the opposite end of the spectrum is control. Okay. And you need those things too. It's a chemical that surges to connect the neurons in your brain at a single moment, causing the feeling of pain. And it's effective. Okay. It motivates you to focus on the cause of the release and work to make it stop. Okay. So we need those feelings too. Unfortunately, this comes at the cost of not noticing much else except the solution to stop the pain or the discomfort. So I don't want to get too deep into this, but I'm going to get a little bit deep into it because I think it's important. Tyann says, oh, ouch, hope they get it right soon. Sepsis is very scary. Yes, he did not get sepsis, but it was going in that direction. Let's see here. I think it's important to remember the Serenity prayer, create an environment for positive, start by getting negative, start by getting negative people. I think you mean getting rid of negative people. But anyhow, we are surrounded by triggers. So our ancestors were surrounded by dangers, and so are we, albeit different strains of danger, right? While they may have had to worry about wild animals, we are more worried about the disappointment of failure. And that really kind of takes over our brain, especially if we're trying to do a business or we're trying to do something new. Either way, your brain learns what to associate with good and what to associate with bad. And you've trained your brain over the years. You may not have meant to, okay? Now we're going to change that. We're going to change that brain. Our brains learn from pain. Your mind remembers what triggers that shot of cortisol. It learns to scan for that trigger. This is necessary to help us avoid dangers. And it's self-preservation. We have to have this. But it also means that the brain focuses on negatives that we come across on a daily basis. It always does that. It's always going to turn to the negative. Someone who is allergic to bees will consistently be scanning for bees. Makes sense, right? So they may not notice the beautiful patch of flowers that surround the bees, okay? They may not notice that or how pretty a bee actually is. The difficulty of being social. We are inherently social species, which brings its own set of difficulties. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm not. I'm an introvert. I don't like being around people. I'm uncomfortable around people. That's because you've programmed your brain that way. I used to be that way. I was that introverted person. We are consistently comparing ourselves to others. We do it all day long. I don't care if it's clothing. I don't care if it's age. I don't care if it's intelligence. I don't care if it's money. We're constantly doing this. We don't mean to, but we do it, okay? Which leads to a constant back and forth of serotonin and cortisol. When our brain sees that we are in a position of weakness, it is processed faster, meaning we then need to try again for the social reward. Okay, there's a social reward out there. There's this flip-flop to this. We also need social support. Our brain seeks safety in the herd and releases oxytocin when we find safety in social support. Now, this is dangerous for a business. This is dangerous because the majority of the people out there aren't going to be accomplishing what you want to accomplish. Okay, so we need to do it differently. We need to change things differently. When we move away from the hard and safety, when we move away from the herd and all that safety, or when the herd itself is threatened, it releases cortisol in alarm. Okay, it says, oh my God, there's this big problem. So your brain is sending mixed signals, and you may feel safe in the herd and get oxytocin, but at the same time, you'll find yourself in a position of weakness, releasing the cortisol. This will cause mixed feelings, and you can lead to anxiety in social settings. And we've all experienced anxiety. I just want you to know how it comes about. So what we have to do is we have to retrain our brain. The good news is that you can retrain your brain to look for positives in everyday life. And we have to do that. My son's in the hospital here. He had a near-death experience, really, but I'm positive because yesterday was my birthday. I traveled all day yesterday for my birthday, but how exciting is it that I got to see my son, that something horrible didn't happen to him, okay? There are a few methods to try, and I want you to choose one or try all of them. I'm going to give you several things to do. And yes, this is important to growing your business online, guys. This is so important because if I don't get your brain right, you're not going to make it through all the obstacles you need to make it through to have a business online. Let's see here. I'm to the point that if people are always negative or spouting off conspiracy theories constantly, I will unfollow if it's family and unfriendly for others. I don't want more of that junk around me. And that's very true, guys. You've got to think about, what do you put in your brain every day? Whatever you put in your brain every day, you're training it. If you're watching horror movies every day, if you're watching murder mysteries every day, if you're watching terrible news every day, it's going to hurt you. I'm telling you, it's going to hurt you. I have a really good friend who's a plastic surgeon and has been for years, very positive guy, has a great family, very accomplished person. And if you walked up to him and said, what's happening in the news, he couldn't tell you. You know, he told me one day, he says, I haven't listened to the news in years. And I said, why not? He says, because it's not positive and there's nothing I can do about it. And, you know, that's a really good reply. The news is not positive. It's never going to be positive. There's a line in the news and it goes like this: if it bleeds, it leads. So the more horrible it is, the more they're going to push that story, because people gravitate towards those stories. It's because your brain is wired that way. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to create what I'm going to call a positivity circuit. 3 times a day, every single day. Okay, somebody spam, right? Every single day, spend 1 minute looking around specifically for positives. How often do you do this? How often you go, you know what? This is not a bad hotel room. You know what? My son is alive. You know, he went through a really terrible experience, but he's alive. You know what? I got a great wife at home. How often do you do that? This helps you retrain your brain, making it look for positives in the same way that it may right now be looking for negatives. Now, there was a Dr. Bruning, and she recommended that you do this for 45 minutes. Now, there's really no reason to stop after that, right? If you're doing it for 45 minutes, how about, you say, well, guys, I don't have time to sit there and look for positive things every day. Really? Why not look for positive things all day long? Start off with 3 times a day at a minute and then grow it. Grow it to where you're a positive person, because that's what we're trying to get to. Because if we can get to that, when these negative things happen to you, when your business isn't doing well, when you're not selling what you want to sell, when you're not getting the traffic you want, when you don't have as many opt-ins, your brain's going to switch to, what's positive about this? What is positive about this? And you're going to build on that. Now, the next thing I'll tell you is let people know that you are recognizing positives, no matter how recent they are. This could be taking a minute and saying thank you to the coworker that helped you with the project. It could mean digging up an old mentor, such as a college professor, high school teacher, and thanking them for advice they may have given you that you now use every day. You know, I went to dinner the other night with somebody I haven't seen since I was 18 years old, and I let him know how he affected me. He was a really cool person. He was very talented. He got in some trouble. We won't talk about that, but we all did when we were kids. But the thing is, he's had a positive impact on the world and become very successful. The next thing I'm going to tell you is I want you to learn to pivot, okay? If you find yourself thinking negatively, I want you to stop it, and think about where you would find yourself if you turn 180 degrees. What if you stopped what you were doing? What if you stopped that thought process, okay? What would happen? What would happen? So for the longest time, people didn't clean up after their pets, okay? So there was a dog poop everywhere. Now that it is common for people to pick up after their dogs, we don't think about the fact that we aren't, dodging dog poop every day and we don't step in poop. We do, however, notice when people fail to pick it up and often triggers some type of outrage. When I was a kid, nobody picked up dog poop. They didn't do it, okay? You just stepped in it every now and then and you live with it, okay? And it wasn't a big deal to you. They would put out their cigarettes and throw them on the ground. It was just common practice. Instead of getting mad and focusing on the negatives, the dog poop that is there, think about the positives. Focus on the fact that 99% of the people are picking up after their dogs now. They didn't do that when I was a kid, okay? The next thing I'm going to tell you I want you to do, and I want you to practice all these things because tomorrow we're digging into this business thing, but I want your head right. I really do, guys. Without this, you're not going to succeed. If you don't get your brain right, this is what's been preventing you from succeeding before. I'm telling you, this is the stuff right here. We've all heard about that pay it forward moments, at Starbucks or McDonald's or something like that. But you don't need to shell out money to the fast food chains to achieve this. Just perform small acts of kindness that will help other people. Helping others make them feel good. Say thank you, help them out, let them in front of you in line. I for years, I would get so upset when somebody cut me off in traffic. And then about 3 years ago, it's taken me that long, for all those years, I got upset. About 3 years ago, I said, you're going to let everybody in. Every person that wants to get in front of you, you're going to let them in, okay? Every single time. It doesn't matter if they're going too slow. It doesn't matter if they're driving erratically. You're going to let everybody in. You can't imagine how liberating that was for me. I don't get mad at anybody anymore when they drive bad. And then I have a justification in my brain. If somebody does drive poorly, here's what I say to myself. I say, of course, they're supposed to drive poorly. They're not good drivers. Of course. And here's something else I'll say to myself. If they look like they've just cut me off and they were very rude and they were speeding, I'm like, gee, I wonder if they've got somebody in the hospital that they're racing to. I wonder if they've got an emergency that's happened in their life. I wonder if a loved one just left them or they got fired from their job. Man, I feel sorry for those people. That's the way I look at drivers now. That's the way I look at drivers. And you know what? You can say, well, JR, that's not always true. Some of the times it actually is. Imagine you get mad at somebody and you curse them out and you flip them off because they cut you off. And they're actually racing to the hospital because one of their loved ones is in a hospital and was in a car accident or fell down or whatever the case may be. Imagine that you did that, right? That doesn't make you feel too good, does it? Next thing I'm going to tell you is take care of yourself. Your health can impact your outlook. Your health does impact your outlook, actually. If you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you're exercising appropriately, and I exercise. I exercise probably 4 or 5 days a week. I was just down there talking to my son. I was like flexing. I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm 62 years old and I can do X number of things. I do 170 push-ups now. I do 170. Now, that's not 2,000 like David Goggins. But for me, at my age, it's okay. I'm going to work my way up to 200. I want to be able to do 200, when I do my push-ups. I do them every minute on the minute until I hit that number. And I usually do it for 12, 13 minutes. So that's what I do. I take care of myself. This isn't an old wives' tale, okay? While they haven't really pinpointed the exact reason why this happens, but universities such as Johns Hopkins and the University of Kansas have noted the link. There is a link. Take an honest, critical look at how you treat your body and what you put in it. What are you eating? How are you sleeping? Are you exercising? You must exercise. You can eat the healthiest you want and you can take all the medicine you want, but if you don't exercise, the muscles in your body will deteriorate. And if they deteriorate, it's going to affect you mentally. And heck, if you just look in the mirror and you don't look good, that's going to affect you mentally, isn't it? And let me check my time here. I'm doing good. I'm at only 10:19. The next thing you want to do is release that inner negativity that you have. Center your thoughts around things that make you happy. Okay, you want to do that. Helping to direct your mind towards positive things. Constant negativity and habitual skepticism will influence your decisions and keep you in a constant negative loop. Look at the automotive industry. For years, they said you can't make an electric car that's viable. You just can't. It won't go far enough. The technology's not there. Elon Musk came along and said, bull, I think you can. And when he did it, everybody started copying him. Okay, but they all had that negative outlook. And as I sit here right now, guys, I'm at the Cleveland Clinic. I'm watching an emergency helicopter come into the hospital, and who knows what's happened. Somebody's had something bad happen in their life. If you don't have an emergency helicopter, racing towards you or one of your family members, you should be happy. What is it going to take to be happy? And that's another question I ask people. What's it going to take? And I want to cover that a little bit more in just a second. Let's see. Having survived a stroke, I'm grateful for every breath I take. I try to pass that positive attitude by just saying thank you and have a nice day. Paul, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. You make the world better. Paul also says, thanks. Hit me up on Facebook or Messenger. I'll do that. Tyann says, okay, good. Okay. You were replying to Paul. Tyann was. She says, hey, Paul, where would you find the softest and best sweatshirts for POD? Okay, they're doing some work here. That's a good. Tyann says, I'm a sucker for murder mysteries. Yes, try to find positive and mundane every day. We need to learn that we are too blessed to be stressed and living with the attitude of gratitude. All these things are good, guys. And as you say these things, as you bring these to the forefront of your brain, you're training your brain. You're doing it, okay? So I want you to let it go. Let the negativity go. Stop letting negative things drag you down and limit your potential. My watch keeps hitting me up here. It does limit your potential. Control your thoughts. You are in control of your thoughts. You're the only one that's in control of your thoughts. Centering on things that make you happy. If you do that, if you start feeling frazzled or stressed or distracted, calm your mind. Slow down. Even pause what you're doing. Take a moment and get into the reality of what's around you. You may be worried about what's going to happen or what did happen. Stop and look around you. I'm sitting in a nice hotel room. Is it the nicest hotel room I've ever been to? No. Is it kind of dated? Yeah. Should I concentrate on that? No. I've got air conditioning. I've got light. I've got electricity. I've got health. I've got clothes on my body. My son's doing well. You could focus on whatever you want. But if you can't be happy in your moment right now, when will you be happy? When will you be happy? Okay? If not only for a moment, stop and be positive. Clear your mind of all these negative thoughts. Then get moving again on the right foot. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Bring positivity into the moment every chance you got by practicing this mindfulness of this moment. We're in this moment. How many of you actually stop and think about the moment you're in? And make a habit of this. You stop your subconscious mind from doing the driving, because your subconscious mind, if you don't drive your mind, your subconscious will, and it's going to base it on bad experiences. Okay. It's not going to base it on good stuff. I'm telling you, you've got to control this. Having your conscious mind drive your decisions will help you focus on your thoughts towards more positive, balanced approach. Okay. A great way to do this is by asking yourself questions. Okay. And here's some of the questions I want you to ask yourself. I think that are super important. Okay. Number one, what can I do right now that will give me joy? What can I do right now? Now, I decided at 9 o'clock Central Daylight Time, it's actually 10 o'clock here in a little past 10 in Cleveland, Ohio. I decided talking to you guys would make me happy. And it does. It makes me happy. When I get a chance to talk to you guys, it makes me very happy. What am I grateful for at this moment? Ask yourself that question right now and actually answer these as we're talking. Answer these. I'm grateful that I had a safe flight here. I'm grateful that all my luggage got here. My son's violin is over there from high school. He's 27 now, and he asked me to bring his violin. And I bet he's going to be grateful for that. I'm grateful that I could bring it here and it didn't get lost or stolen. Okay. So many bad things can happen that don't happen to us. And yet we forget about all the good things that happen to us that we aren't thankful for. Is there something I can do to give someone else happiness right now? What can I do? I met a couple of people in the hallway. I had somebody brought me some food last night, and I did what I could to make them happy. I mean, the room service person, I said, is the tip already included? And she says, yes, it's already included. I'm like, well, let me give you a little extra tip, because I used to have to work room service. I used to have to carry stuff up to people's rooms. She goes, oh my gosh, it's nice to meet somebody who actually was in the service industry. I said, I started off washing dishes. When I was 15, I was a dishwasher. I appreciate that person in the back of the kitchen that's washing my dishes so that I can have a nice clean plate. Do you appreciate that? Do you appreciate that? Or you just, when you find a dirty plate, you get upset? What is it? Is there something you can do to make somebody else feel good? Ask yourself that question. Now, ask yourself this question: how can I demonstrate my gratitude? How can I express gratitude on a daily basis? By retraining your brain to go positive instead of negative, you can change your outlook on life entirely. Now, if you change your outlook on life, you will change your success. You will change your success, and you'll be able to handle your failures. You will feel better, and you will likely see improvements in your social and your professional life. This is not just for business, but I want you to use it for business right now. It's going to help you in your personal life too, okay? As I said before, there have been numerous studies on the effects of positivity, with the effects of positivity ranging from improved immune response. Hey, there's that illness out there. I'm not supposed to say what it is, but there's that illness out there. Maybe just being positive could protect you from that. Isn't that reason enough? All right. So also, if you do get sick, you tend to get better quicker when you're positive. Now, it may seem negative to tell you won't see changes overnight, because you won't. It's not going to happen overnight. But that's simply reality. You're fighting against centuries of bred instincts that evolve chemical systems in your brain. You can change these chemicals, guys, but you will see the changes over time, and you will be able to train your brain to look for positives in life if you do the things I talked about today. And I wanted to spend some time on this today, guys, because right now I'm surrounded with situations. Okay, my birthday, I could bitch and say, oh my gosh, on my birthday I had to be on an airplane flying to Cleveland. You know what? How grateful am I that I could afford to go and see my son in the hospital? How grateful am I that I can be here to help him out? How grateful am I that I can afford to sit in first class and stretch my legs out? There was a time I couldn't do that, but if I was sitting in coach, I should be grateful for that too. I should be grateful because I've got another day to do this stuff, guys. And if you get your mind wrapped around what I've told you today, tomorrow, when we start working on your business more and more and more, and you run into problems, which you will run into problems, you're going to be able to handle them. You're going to be able to find solutions to the problems. You're going to be able to do better at your business because you've trained your brain. And you got to keep training your brain. It can go negative at any point, right? My wife and I talk about it all the time, and we try to be really super positive people. And we pretty much are. She wasn't as positive when I first met her, and it was because of her brain training. But she's changed it over the years, and I constantly try to improve on mine. Let me see what you guys have been saying here. I like how you keep an uncluttered workspace. I think your space contributes to mindset, both positive and negative. Yeah, I don't believe in paper. Okay. I don't like paper. I think it's bad for the environment. I lose stuff on paper. I don't write well on paper. I don't write well, period. And my handwriting is not that great. I try to hurry. And then when I try to hurry, I can't read the writing. And then I tend to stack it up. So I'm allowed one spot in my house where I have a little bit of paperwork, and it's behind this cubby in our butler pantry. That sounds so funny, but that's what is part of the house. And in the butler pantry, I have a little stack of paper stuff I've got to handle. But I don't like to have all the clutter and paperwork everywhere. I just don't. It's not something I like to have. Fall is one of those seasons for reflection and calming yourself in nature. Yes, it is. Fall is definitely good for that. And so is winter. And so is spring. And so is summer. Don't wait for a season. Though that's a good point you made. I think it's a great point. And now that we're in fall, if you want to start now, start now. But if you miss fall, you can do it in the winter. And if you miss winter, you can do it in the spring. But gosh, you got to do it. You got to be thankful. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how that has changed my success in life by just being thankful of other people. When I go into a room of people who are really good at digital marketing, I don't go into that room and go, let me see who I can get to help me out. Let me see who I can learn something from. I go into that room and go, what can I do for somebody else in this room, and not ask for anything in return? How often does your brain go in that direction? Mine automatically goes in that direction now, automatically. When I see people who are strangers now, it automatically goes to, I hope they're having a good day. Maybe I can make it a little bit better. Okay. It's not, they aren't doing their job great, or they aren't good at this, or they aren't good at that, or, I didn't like this meal. It tries to go positive because my brain's just trained that way now. And it makes me happy. It makes me smile. When I was a kid, I never smiled. I got in trouble. I got in fights. and got involved in drugs, you name it, arrested, all that good stuff. But I was always negative. And that's what I attracted, was all these negative things. And now I seem to attract good luck everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. It doesn't mean I don't have problems. It doesn't mean that, things don't happen in my life. My son's in the hospital right now, and I'm trying to nurse him back to health, but he's going to be fine. He's a tough guy. Let's see here. I think every person who worked in food service appreciate the stress of service workers. Yeah, that was very helpful to me, because I was a busboy, I was a waiter, I was a dishwasher, I was a salad prep person, I was a saute person in the kitchen, I was a bartender, I was a banquet bartender. I did a lot of food service stuff, and you learn to appreciate how hard those people really do work. I love that you make time to keep time in touch with positive people like your older buddy in San Diego. Oh yeah, Luigi's awesome. You know about Luigi. Luigi's like 80, he just turned 87. He went to Paris, and I got to get back in touch with him because I talked to him right before he went to Paris. True, every season has its perks when it feels best for different things. Yes, and all I'm saying is don't wait. When I say that, tie-in, whatever season you pick, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's all perfect. Whatever you do, guys, I'm going to leave you with that today. It's perfect. Whatever you do is perfect. Let's say you did something and it wasn't up to par of what you wanted. You did what you could with what you had. Give yourself credit. If you give yourself credit and you do good with what you have, that's all you can expect of yourself. That's it. You can't expect anything. You can't expect more than what you can do. Okay. I can't expect to do 2,000 push-ups. Right now, I can't do it. Will I do it one day? I don't know. I don't know if I'll work towards that. But the point is, I'm happy with my 170 right now. I'm good with that. I'm very good with that. I'm very happy about that. I'm happy that I can walk into my son's, hospital room and say, hey, your dad is getting up in years, but I'm still in good shape, still healthy, because I work on it. It's not because it was given to me. I work really hard on that. Do I screw up? Yes, of course. Do I eat crappy food? Of course I do. But not all the time. Do I overeat? Sometimes, but not all the time. Not all the time. I will say my friend from high school, he had a heart attack. He has stents in, and he ate a meal he probably shouldn't have the other night. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. He ate a rack of ribs, and I had a piece of salmon. But I've been there where I ate some ribs too. But when I do eat that bad food, try this one, guys. When you do eat that bad food, try to just eat a small amount of it. Don't eat the whole cake. Eat a sliver of cake, right? Eat a small portion of that steak. Cut it down a little bit. Just do that. If you do that, you're going to be okay. And please, when you leave this training today, matter of fact, if you would put something positive that you're thankful for today, I want everybody to do that that's listening to this. In the chat section, if you're listening live, put something that you're positive about. Put something that you're grateful for. Just, as a matter of fact, put 2 or 3 things if you could. Everybody do that. Even if you're not watching this live. Let's say you're watching, the recording of this. Put it in the comments section. This isn't just for me. This is for you, because when you write it down, when you express it, when you share it with the world, it's going to come back to you. It'll come back to you. You're also starting to train your brain, because before you watch this video today, you weren't going to do that. You weren't going to do that. Which means your brain was going to go negative at some point during the day, because it's trained to do so. You're right. For eons, that's what your brain is trained to do. We're trying to change that. And if you notice the people who do really well in life, and I keep pulling out Elon Musk, he's a very positive person. Very, very positive. He sees bad things in the world. He sees that we're overpopulated, but instead of freaking out over it, he's like, let's get some other planets going. He tries to find a solution to that. That may be a bizarre thought for some of you out there, but he has a brain that sees negative and chooses not to accept it. How is your brain operating? Have you put down positive things in the chat here? Have you done it? Have you done what I said? Are you going to do it? If you're watching this as a recording, will you put it in the comments? Are you going to decide to change? That's up to you. I can't control that. Let's see. I had the Queen's Within. What's going on? I had terrible job experiences. However, the worst bosses I had taught me the best lessons, either directly or indirectly. Yes. When I quit my job and I went to do online marketing, the person that just drove me out of there, the person I just really despised, And he did pass away, actually, drank himself to death or drugged himself to death. I don't know what it was. But if he hadn't have been like that, I would have stayed in that job. If he was a great boss, he was a nice guy, and I would have just had a mediocre income, And I say mediocre, I earned decent money, but I would have never earned what I earn now. Never, if he hadn't have been that way. So I thank him. I thank him for treating me poorly. I thank him. That was a genuine blessing in disguise that he treated me poorly, because look where I am now. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that negative individual. Okay. Let's see here. I want to read some of this. You guys are awesome. Focus on the positive and make the most of what you have. Yes, this is from The Queen is Within. Avoid negative people. And that's why you keep your business to yourself. The only people that need to know are the ones who give solutions. Very nice. Paul, grateful for my wife. Paul, you must really love your wife. You talk about her a lot. That's awesome. I got to meet her. And family, plus the fact that I live in a land that anyone can pursue their dreams. Hey, yeah, I mean, guys, if you're in America, you're super lucky. You've got no excuses. But there's a lot of countries out there that you should be very grateful for. We don't have the only country that's got, possibilities and opportunities. Every place you are in the world, there's something there for you if you decide to use it. I keep a daily gratitude journal. Do you really, James? You are a very positive person. He says, peace and blessings, everyone, always. Tyann says, thankful for the greening of things and cleansing fall rains. Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? It is pretty cool stuff. And I'm very thankful for that stuff too. The colors and feels are just my favorite in the fall. That is really nice. Yes. And I'm looking out over a big forest here behind the Cleveland Clinic. And I'm looking out over all these buildings that are helping people and getting people well. And that's amazing. Lessons are learned in every job. Some let you know that you were not meant for that nasty job. Yeah, that's very true. Guys, I want to thank you for being here today. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Ring the bell. This is all I got. I got a water bottle. I don't have a bell. I need a bell. They didn't provide a bell in my room. That's okay. I'm still thankful for the room. Ring the bell, turn on all bell notifications so you're notified each and every time I go live. I'm going to be doing these lives all week long. I'll be here at 9 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Throughout the week, I'll be here through Thursday, and then Saturday, I'll be back in Texas, and it'll be 10 o'clock Central Daylight Time. I want you guys to stick with me, join me, participate. This could be a life-changing week for you. It really could. If you let it be, it could be a life-changing week. But it really, truly is up to you. Don't blame anybody else. Don't expect anybody else to do stuff for you. I want you to be the driving force. I want you to be the one who goes out in the world. Why not you go out and affect other people's lives in a positive way? Why not you make the difference? Stop waiting for somebody else to be the one. You be the one. You be the one that people are grateful for. You be the one who at the end of the day says, I'm glad I met this person. I'm glad I talked to this person. I'm glad I associate with this person. This person was awesome. You be that person. I think Queen's Wisdom says, I'm thankful that I am of sound mind and body, and I have the knowledge and mindset to keep on pushing. I'm grateful for family and the fact that I can wake up today. Thankful to be here. Very nice. Prayers for your son again, brother. Thank you so much, Paul. He is talking today. He hasn't eaten in days because he can't. He still has a tube down his nose, but they're working on that. If it's to be, it's up to me. 100%, James. That's 100%. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your attentive being of here. And I appreciate you showing up. And please put those comments in there. Please keep posting positive things throughout the day. If you want to come back and post on here, please do so because it's going to help you. This is for you. This isn't for me. It's 100% for you. It's to wake you up a little bit because tomorrow we're going to start working. We're going to start working, okay? And you're going to need all this to get through all the work we're going to do. But on the other side is great success and great happiness. Thanks so much for listening today, guys. I really appreciate you being here. I apologize for the hotel room behind me, but it is what it is. I'm still here. Love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you tomorrow.